All right, joining us now is deputy editor for HuffPost, the oracle of the internet himself, Phil Lewis. Phil, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. You were at yesterday's convention. I want to talk about that. The headline on HuffPost reads right now, Trump train wreck at Black Journal Convention. Talk to us about what it was like being in the room, the reaction to Donald Trump's comments. Just give us a sense of what the vibe was like there.
Yeah, well, Sam, thanks for having me. If you all don't know, Sam was my former intern coordinator. So great. Full circle moment. But yeah, I mean, the headline that you just showed was the headline that I actually came up with. That's the headline that I put before signing off, because ultimately that's what it was. I mean, Trump came in and from the get positioned himself as a victim. Right. He folded under these reporters, these journalists, their questions, which were appropriate, which were more than appropriate. And the vibe in the room, I mean, I think there's a lot being made of the sounds that were being made in the room, as far as there were audible gasps, right? There was some laughter, but the laughter was really laughter of disbelief, because I think most of the people in the audience, a lot of the journalists in the audience, this was their first time maybe seeing Trump in person. And I think you can see Trump, online, and you're familiar with Trump, but when you see him in person, I think there's some disbelief there.
Let's set the stage here a little bit, because there's some controversy over inviting Trump in the first place. In fact, a good portion of the NABJ felt like he should not have been extended an invitation. How did that affect the mood and the interview, you think, of Trump by the people who were up on the dais?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I mean, it's important to understand the National Association of Black Journalists, the position and the mission and the aim of the organization is to promote, advocate for, and safeguard its journalists. It's a professional organization, right? So because of Trump's former comments, right, about Black journalists in the past, and in particular Black women journalists, a lot of people were kind of like, well, what is the point of even having this person who is clearly an adversary to, to Black journalists and what it is that we try to do. There was a lot of pushback, and rightfully so, right? I mean, we saw for ourselves how he responded and how he reacted to the Black women who were on stage and interviewing him and giving him questions that were appropriate. I mean, that were appropriate and that were got right to the heart of the matter of what the Black community wants to know.
And Phil, very quickly, there was a sense from Trump, the argument that there was technical issues, that the sound, you couldn't hear the questions. Was that apparent in the audience as well? Could you hear him? Talk very quickly about the sort of procedure here and how it played out. Sorry.
Sure. Well, I'm speaking for myself. I could hear him well enough. Everyone around me could hear him well enough. I was told by a source that there was a lot of pushback from Trump and his team about the live fact checking, and that's what kind of pushed back. And then also the New York Times confirmed that report. So for myself and for others, I don't think that there was a lot of issues with the audio, but I do acknowledge that on stage there may have been some issues, as he repeatedly said.
All right. Deputy editor for HuffPost and one of the great interns of all time back in the day, Phil Lewis, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. And still ahead, we'll go live to CNBC for an early